My name is Jim Schreier, and I'm a senior volunteer with the California Highway Patrol. And with me today is Marge Ryan. She's also a senior volunteer with the California Highway Patrol San Jose Area Command. We started developing this program for the Santa Clara Valley in 2008. And we did it in order to address seniors. And it was based on a program that was an evaluation that was done about around 2003. It was initiated, and in 2010 they published this book. It's a California Strategic Highway Safety Plan. And what they did was they noted that the senior population in the state of California by 2020 will have grown to 5.2 million people. That's people over the age of 65. And of that number, over 4 million of the people will be driving on the road. So that's 4 million senior drivers, 65 and older, that will be on the road. And they felt that they needed to address some issues. This particular program with the California Highway Patrol is free to the public. We do publish a book, and this is a workbook that we put out for each senior that we present the program to. And thus far, since 2008, we have presented to over 800 seniors in senior centers. That's why when we do this program, and we do sometimes do this PSA type of program, we encourage you guys to contact your senior center and to call the CHP area command here and have us come in and do the presentation. It is free. I know that AARP and AAA do have similar programs that they do charge you for, but this program is free. This is the workbook, the exact workbook that you'll get with the program. We're primarily an awareness program. We want to make seniors aware of some of the subtle changes and or habits that you might have created for yourself over the years of driving that you aren't really aware of and you have to pay attention to. Plus some of the subtle physical things that do happen to you. And we do try to make you aware of some of the things that you can do to counteract some of these things, the exercise programs and stuff like this to make you aware. If you'll notice this, you'll see the growth pattern in the state of California, which by 2020, again, there'll be 5.2 million people over the age of 65, and of that 4 million will be on the road. There are some myths about older drivers, and we tried to dispel those myths. They say that older drivers are unsafe, and that isn't true. A lot of us are cautious. And what we mean by older drivers, we present this program to people who are 55 and plus. And we've had people in our program that have been in excess of 90 years old and still have their driver's license and still like to brag that they're on the road. Some of the statistics that we do go through are these charts. These charts will address some of the issues, and what we do is normally we just glance over them. This particular chart will show you that when we were younger, we had a lot of accidents, and as we get older, like we're going through our second childhood, we run into those accident profiles again. And it's only sometimes those are only related to some of the restrictions that we do have, either physically or some of the challenges that we do have as we age. This one here is just one that we show about the collisions, what happens. Primarily the ones that we have are either in parking lots. During the program, as well as these statistics, what we do lead off with is we try to get into some of the limitations that do happen as we age. Most of our seniors, all of our senior volunteers that are with the CHP Older Driver Program or the Age Well Drive Smart program have been trained by the Department of Health, the Santa Clara Valley Department of Health. We went through a program and they went through about the health and therapy for seniors, also vision. Ophthalmologists told us what some of the things that do happen during aging. We also went through nutrition programs. We've also been instructed by a senior therapist as to some of the exercises that can be done to kind of limber you up, especially when you're driving, because you do run into restrictions as you do start to stiffen up and stuff. You can't turn your head enough, or you just have some restrictions in so far as physical, so far as even hitting the brakes or just sitting for long periods of time. So we try to make you aware of some of this stuff. Also during the program too, we give you some insights as to and we ask how you keep active, because that is one of the keys for seniors to stay alert, and also helps them in driving, is to stay active. Whether you do mental programs like Sudoku or something like this, or you are active in your community, walks, dancing, just mental activity and physical activity are the keys for seniors being able to maintain their driving abilities too. We do also offer suggestions and stuff like this on plot your destinations before you get in the car. Make sure that the routes that you take are familiar to you and are easy for you, so you don't feel confused or you don't feel restricted. Some people are uncomfortable with getting on the major freeways and much rather would take the frontage roads or take the back roads to go somewhere. This is great, and we do encourage that. Go places where you're familiar. We encourage you insofar as other things as to how to check your vehicle, make sure it's up to par when you do hit the road, so you don't run into any problems while you're on the road. Also, we go through some of the physical aspects of your vehicle. There is a program out there that's called Car Fit, and it's offered by the Santa Clara Health Department and also AAA. This particular program will help seniors fit to their cars. What they normally do, and all of the senior volunteers with this particular program are also trained technicians in that. What we do is have you sit in the car, we make sure your seats are properly adjusted, your steering wheel is properly adjusted, your mirrors, make sure everything on your car is working properly, and so that when you get into your car, you don't have to try to peek over the steering wheel and try to adjust your mirror every time you get in. And we give you tips on how to do that on a regular basis with any car. We also go through this. We go through some of the physical things that you need to do within your car, where your headrest needs to be adjusted to. What we found, and this is based on the California Highway Patrol, is that headrest should be adjusted right to the center of your back of your head. And that's where to give you the most support if you happen to have any type of a collision. We also show you the correct way of doing your seatbelt. You also go through this in the Car Fit program. Again, whenever your collision system or your restraint system is initiated, it's all initiated by the chest part of the belt. It isn't initiated by the lack portion of your belt, because you'll notice that sometimes when you go to reach for something real quick, it'll try to hold you back until you relax and then you lean forward. That's how the system is initiated, is that way. Also, we let you know about a new positioning of your hands. I'm sure that most of you were taught that 8 and 10?
10 and 2.
10 and 2. There you go, 10 and 2. We've been teaching this so long it just drives you. Now, because of the airbags that are equipped in all the new cars, they are now saying you should be down in the lower portion of your steering wheel, because when that airbag does go off, it goes off at about 200 miles an hour, and it's super fast. And if you have your hands positioned in the old way, sometimes you end up beating yourself up and come out with more injuries than you would have come out with otherwise, because it will drive your hands right into your face. You either try to break your nose or beat yourself up, one of the two. It is a serious thing, and that does come out real fast, both on the passenger side and the driver's side. Also, the recommendation is that you stay at least 10 to 11 inches away from your steering wheel if you can. If you can't have that distance, because when that thing comes out at 200 miles an hour, if you're closer than that, it's going to slap you really hard. If you're back at about 10 to 11 inches, they found that you will be able to take the whole impact of the seat, of the airbag coming out, and it will cushion you. Safe driving practices, we do go through more detail than this, and we give you some insights as to what to do and to pre-think your driving in a lot of ways. Again, this is an awareness program. We try to give you some ideas or bring some thoughts that you might have forgotten about, or some ideas that help you initiate safe driving. Because over the years, we do get a little slower, we do have eye problems, we do react a little bit different to situations, and what we want to do is bring that awareness to your mind. Even though it may be in the back of your mind, we want to bring it to the forefront so that you're safe on the road and you stay vital as long as possible. We show you some of the new things about braking distances. If you're going 60 miles an hour, again, a lot of you were probably taught when you were going through school and stuff like this that it does take about a football field to actually stop, and that's based on the time it takes you to recognize the situation when you lift your foot off the ground, to push on that brake, and the amount of time it takes to actually come to a stop on that braking. We also will show you a new trick to do, and it's almost impossible in the Santa Clara Valley because we are moving parking lots on our freeways. It used to be that they liked about 3 car lengths between you and the driver in front of you in order for stopping distance. Now it's gone to using a 3-second rule. And what that 3-second rule does is, how you do that is you find a stationary item that's on the side of the road. And once a car passes that's in front of you, you count 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And at that point, you should pass that stationary item also, and there should be a distance between you and that car of about 3 seconds. That gives you a buffer zone. That doesn't give you an exact stopping distance. You're still based on the speed, but like I said, here in the Bay Area, it's like a moving parking lot at 65 miles an hour, so it's kind of tough. And people will cut you off like mad. They'll fill in that zone that you leave, and we realize that. But we try to give you the optimum for the starting distance and give you a comfort zone anyway. Driving strategies in the state of California: just relax. Try not to be stressed. If you feel stressed, get off the road, relax. Stress will cause a lot of difficulties. You don't really see what's going on. You don't pay attention to what's going on because you've been stressed out. And that's why a lot of times we do encourage seniors to, if they don't like getting on the freeway because it is real stressful, to take those frontage roads, to find a back way into your destination, and it makes it a little more comfortable for you and a little less stressful for you, because that's a key, is stress, because you can get real flustered real quick if you're stressed out. This one here sometimes, and we see it regularly in the Santa Clara Valley, we see road rage. We see people that you as a senior may have pulled out, merged into traffic a little slower than somebody else, and somebody else will get ticked off at you. Just because their day hasn't been going good doesn't mean they need to ruin your day. So the one thing that we encourage, that if you feel somebody is harassing you on your tail, that just won't get off and won't leave you alone in your car, we encourage you to go to a public place. Just turn off the road and go into a public place and just turn off there. And usually if it's in a public place, they don't want to have any public around, so they'll drive away and leave you alone. Other than that, we just encourage you to forget about it and drive on. Just don't pay attention to them. Don't try to encourage them to do anything, because we've seen some real radical road rage around here. We go through some of the rules of the road, and we go through some of the California state vehicle code laws that have been implemented within probably about the last 3 or 4 years, concerning cell phones. And I'm sure all of you text while you're driving too, don't you? But we also tell you about some of the California state laws that when it is raining out and the rain season is coming, make sure when your windshield wipers are on, make sure you turn your headlights on. And don't rely on your running lights or your auto lights to come on, because sometimes it isn't dark enough for your autos to come on. We encourage you to physically reach down and turn your headlights on. What that actually does is that will turn your taillights on too, so the guy behind you can see you in the rain fog that comes up on the roads around here a lot. That's why we let you know you have to physically and manually turn your headlights on during that time, because running your daylight lights will not turn your taillights on. And like I said, a lot of times your auto lights won't come on because it's not dark enough for them to come on. We also discuss, freeway merging, right-of-ways. Again, we'll go through the exercise that if you are merging into traffic, especially on the freeway, and you can't get up to speed, up to the merging speed of that traffic, make sure you stay in that far right lane. Don't try to go into the number 2 or number 3 lanes and do 60 miles an hour, because that will, going slow will cause an accident, also will instigate road rage. So we encourage you that if you have any kind of difficulty like that, and we even have officers that come in and they'll answer questions for the folks. And that's one of the questions that come up. What do I do when, if I'm driving 60 miles an hour and everybody else is getting frustrated with me? They just say, go over into the far right lane. It's yours. You're still legal if you're going 60 miles an hour. The other issue is that try not to impede traffic, because our officers will tell you that if you impede traffic, you will get a ticket for going too slow. So also we give you a little more insight into some of the blind spots. This one here is a blind spot of a truck, and where the areas to try to avoid for you to be seen. So if he merges over, he doesn't merge over on top of you. So, and some of the information that it's usually, if the verbiage that we give you sometimes is, if you can't see his mirrors, he can't see you. And that's one thing you need to watch out for, especially the big trucks that are on the road around here, especially if you're on the freeways. Also, we do give you blind spots of your vehicles and how to pay attention, and some of the ways you can rectify that also. There are ways that you can limit the blind spots that you do have in your vehicle. And I think Mr. Roadshow came out with it 5 or 6 months ago. But there are ways in order for you to make your outside mirrors more accommodating so that you can see cars approaching you from the outside of your blind spot area. Another thing we go through is some of the safety on side streets that we do have. Pay attention to buses, crosswalks. Pedestrians in the state of California, even though you may not notice it, they do have the right-of-way on any kind of roadway where there is a crosswalk, and so long as they're in a crosswalk. If they step off the curb, you're by law supposed to stop and allow them to go all the way across the road, even if there's a center median on that road. The only time that you can progress without them crossing all the way across, if in that center medium, there is a place where they can stop and have to push a button to progress on to the next side. But on most of the roads around here, any pedestrian that is in a crosswalk, you have to stop and legally let them cross all the way across the road before you can progress. I haven't seen too many tickets issued on that when people have turned on that, because a lot of people make a right turn or a left turn real quick. Also, we teach you about school zones. School zones are really critical. Some of our cruisers, some of our senior drivers will go out and make a presence in a school area. And there are times that we see parents just coming in and they'll even go past a bus that's flashing its red lights. In the state of California, the vehicle code, if a bus or a transportation vehicle that does have children on it or a handicap, if they are flashing their red lights, you cannot go past them either. If you're on the same side of the road as them, you can't pass, or if they're on the opposite side, if you're going towards them. They have those flashing lights, you're required to stop by California state law until they turn those flashing lights off. Because they may have kids that are getting off of the bus on one side or crossing the street also on the other side. Our program normally lasts, and our presentation base lasts about 2 hours of us actually presenting the material. We do have breaks within the program, and also we do have a CHP officer, like I said, that comes in about this same time, and he'll be in for about 15 minutes. We pull an officer off the road, and he'll be in for about 15 minutes to do Q&A. Also, we give you more information about some of the aspects of tailgating, the intersections like I was talking about, making left turns, also watching for pedestrians. And shopping center parking lots seems to be a real big hazard. A lot of times that we don't see somebody coming behind us, and I just went to the Costco parking lot, and I was backing up, and all of a sudden there were 5 or 6 people back there, and I didn't see them before I started backing up. So that's one of the things that you have to really watch out for and be attentive. And I know at times, especially as seniors, you just want to try to back out, but you've got some restrictions insofar as I just saw somebody, but they aren't there anymore, or all of a sudden somebody shows up. Again, we tell you about some of the hazards that you may experience, and especially about the state of California. daylight driving, non-freeway driving, and stuff like this, so that if you're visually impaired or have problems with night driving, is you try to restrict that. If you don't feel comfortable in any way, shape, or form getting behind the wheel of your car, don't. We encourage that. If you need to get somewhere and you still don't feel comfortable about getting behind the wheel of your car, see if you can contact a friend or a relative or somebody to help you get somewhere. Marge is going to give you the rest of it. This is how we normally do it. We do a take team. We'll go through one instructor, they'll present a section of it, and then another instructor will pick it up.
Hello. In the booklet that we would be giving you, there are various assessments that you get to do yourself. And nobody has to see them except you. And we always recommend that whenever you're doing these things, that you do them in pencil so that 6 months later you can repeat them and see how you're doing. Jim mentioned the California Strategic Plan, and there were 3 important parts to that affect seniors. The whole section is on improving safety for senior drivers. They are improving the driving licensing, testing and assessment procedures, improve the law enforcement awareness of older drivers' behaviors and needs. We have found, since we are senior volunteers, we talk to these young officers and we ask them what they see about the senior drivers that are out on the road, and they ask us for suggestions in dealing with them. And we keep saying, well, you have to remember that we could be your grandparents, we could be your parents, and we need to be treated with respect. And we've seen some changes over the last 3 years. There are methods to implement roadway changes. If you've noticed, some of the off-ramps are banked. They've been lining roadways. The roads are safer, even though they're minor. It's just a minor thing that you notice. Sometimes you don't even pay attention to it. But I remember when I was learning how to drive, getting off of the freeway, the road was absolutely flat. And when it said 25 miles an hour, that was too fast. Now you can leave a roadway most of the time at 35, and that's kind of there's room to spare. When you renew your license, that's at age 70 or after, you need to go into the DMV, and they give you a paper test and an eye test. They are not experts in being able to see whether you are able to drive. Now, in this setting here, some of you are slowing down more, and if you are going into DMV and you are having trouble walking, that's going to be noticed. And DMV is really improving their image. They're doing everything they can do to keep you on the road. But if your doctor reports you or a family member calls and says, oh, Dad shouldn't be on the road, you will be called in and they will give you different kinds of tests. You'll be called in to take a behind the wheel test. One of the things that will fail you for sure is not turning your head. Now, my neck, I can now see it in the back seat because I've had some physical therapy. But for a while, it was really hard for me to turn my head. There are exercises that you can do to improve your mobility. If you are worried about a driver, then you can report them to DMV anonymously, and there is the website. And I think you have a half sheet here that has some of this information. You don't want to be reported to the DMV, so you need to be aware of when it's time for you to give up the keys. First of all, talk it over with your family and your friends. Are they cringing when you get out in the car? Ask them, how is my driving? I check with my daughters. When I go to visit them, I drive. And I say, I'm just checking it out. And then after about an hour, I say, okay, you can drive. I'm on vacation. Let them drive. If you have given up your keys, you probably already know that there is life without being able to drive your own car. You can call on family and friends. If you are thinking about giving up your keys, let your friends and your neighbors know this. If you're still able to drive, do nice things for other people. Give people a ride when you're going somewhere. Most people like the company. Most people like to help you out. There's public transportation. Now we know that public transportation is not the easiest thing in the Santa Clara Valley, but in our presentations, VTA does come and present ways of getting around, and it is more friendly. There's actually a phone number that you can call, and they will help you plan a trip. That doesn't mean that you get there in an hour. It might take 4. There are services where you may be able to sign up for a car outreach. There are taxi services. If you find a taxi driver that is friendly, keep calling that same one. And there are other wheels, other possibilities, such as 4-wheel scooters. I know the golf cart's kind of silly, but that works. Walking, you still need to have exercise every day. Walking for as long as you can walk is just good for your health.
Again, this program is an awareness program. The state of California has adopted our program. We took this program from Redwood City, who was the initiator in the state of California of this particular program. It was initially called just a senior driver program. We took it down in the Santa Clara Valley about 2008, and we called it Stay Vital, because we want to encourage seniors or older drivers to stay vital in their community and with their families and themselves. And what we did was we took this program and we kind of married up the student handbook with it. We also married up the PowerPoint program so that everything flowed pretty well, so we could get more of an understanding, and also you had a hard copy that you could make notes in, because we give you more information than is in our workbooks. Also, there may be information that's pertinent to you that you want to pay specific attention to. And like Mark was saying, in the back of the book, there are exercises that you can do in order to help evaluate yourself. Because the only person that really does step up when it comes time to either restrict your driving or, as they say, hang up the keys, is yourself. That's the only person that can really do that and feel comfortable about it. Because a lot of times it is a loss when we can't drive any longer. And we realize that, and we're not here to tell you that you have to hang up your keys, but just be aware of there may be factors, safety factors, that need to be paid attention to and awareness. Yes, ma'am?
I apologize, we came in late. I don't know how to find your program.
Right now we don't have a website, but what we do is we encourage you to contact your area senior center and ask them if they are having the Age Well Drive Smart program presented by the California Highway Patrol. This particular program is now being adopted statewide. And so they're putting out this stuff just recently, starting to put out it to all the area, CHP area commands, to make them encourage senior centers to start presenting this stuff in centers. Matter of fact, Parkinson Institute is going to try to schedule us back in here next year for our full-blown program. Also, we present in the Santa Clara Valley. Right now we're presenting up at Avoidance in Palo Alto. We also present at the Sunnyvale Senior Center over off of Remington, I do believe. We do it on Saratoga. We've done it all over the Santa Clara Valley. And thus far, we've presented, like I said, to over 800 seniors. And all of the senior presenters that we have in this particular program are signed up to this program. We We have ownership of the program, and we really are excited about it and want to make seniors really aware of what is going out there, how they can still be very vital in this community, and how they can stay vital. We thank you very much for having us in here.
Where are we going tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're going to be at St. Mary's in Los Gatos tomorrow. But we thank you very much for allowing us to come in and do this presentation. We encourage you to take the full-blown one. Our seniors are really good. Plus the people we do have in, like we do have an officer come in physically. We have the DMV ombudsman for the Northern California come in, and they'll tell you and dispel some of the rumors and myths about how seniors are really looked at hard when they come in and do their driving test or evaluation. And it's plus the VTA, they give you a long presentation. Also, they show you the routes in the local areas and how you can go from one county to the next county. And it just flows, the rapid transit, how you can really get around. Again, thank you very much. We do appreciate this.